Hi, we're on our last step with the Rockport baskets. In this video, I'm going to show you how to attach the top, how to make your handles, and then just add your buttons and your embellishments. The first step is to attach the top. You've sewn your sides. Now this basket, I'll be honest with you, I have not sewn the sides to the bottom all the way around. They're just pinned at this point. But it's okay for this video. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the top, and remember the top has the tabs on it, and you're going to center that. You want to center one tab in the center of the back, and the other tab will be on the center front, right down on that, centered right on that binding strip. So attaching the top to the basket is very simple. You're simply going to stitch right across. So you will have to have the ability to put your basket in your sewing machine like this and stitch right across, just a straight stitch, so that it looks like this right here. Hopefully you can see that. Add buttons or bows or whatever to embellish that back tab. And then on the front, you can add your buttons, bows, or whatever, along with a magnetic snap. Now we use the sew-in type magnetic snaps. They sew in just like a button. So this is the female part right here, and the male part, and the female part is attached to the center of your binding strip. So they just attach together. And that's it for putting the top on. Pretty simple. Now we're going to move on to doing the handles. The handles are, they use the same interfacing that you used on the sides. So you're going to cut two pieces of fabric, put them right sides together, and one piece of interfacing. Now I pin them all together, and then I'm going to stitch them together. You will stitch starting in the center or near the center. You will stitch all the way around with a 1/4 of an inch seam, leaving a small opening in the center of your long edge to turn right side out. Clip the ends. So I've simply clipped the corners and clipped off any excess interfacing. So I'll show you how to do that, like that, and like that. And then if there's any excess interfacing, just clip that. Make sure you remove all of your pins. And then you want to turn this right side out. Now I use a turning tool. It's called a Turn-It-All. And you will slide, there's two pieces to it, a straw and a skewer. You'll slide the straw in between the two layers of fabric, so right between there. Slide it all the way down to the end. Take the skewer part and push on the fabric side. That will actually help you turn that right side out very quickly. Now, I do use a knitting needle with a little bit of a blunt end to poke the corners out. I think it just makes it a little bit neater, and it gets the corners all the way out. So pull on that. I'm going to show you how to use that turning tool again. Slide the straw inside. Take your skewer, push on the fabric side, and it'll push right through. Take your knitting needle, poke the ends out so they're nice and square, and pull. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to iron it flat. So what you want to do is make sure that the seams are in on each side and iron it flat. Now I do one end and then I do the other, and I iron them on both sides. Then the middle is a little bit trickier because that's where you're going to have the hole. So just fold your edges in just a little bit and then iron that nice and flat. When you do, this is a double-sided fusible in here. What will happen is that this fabric will actually fuse onto the double-sided fusible, leaving just this edge right here open. So just iron that flat, and here you have the piece that's ironed. Then you're going to fold this piece in half, and I pin at that opening. And that's the only place I pin. I just want to make sure that when I get to that point, it's just a reminder, I have to make sure that I'm sewing that opening closed. So I'm going to mark a spot 2 inches in from each end. I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to stitch all the way down to this 2-inch end. So I'll have a piece that looks like that. When I do that, I'm actually stitching that hole closed. You may have to trim a few pieces of thread right there. So once you've done that, the final thing that we're going to, this is new, we haven't used this before, but I like it. We are using a zip tie to strengthen the handle. Now these are heavy-duty zip ties. I've seen them in 36 and 48-inch lengths. The zip tie is just a little over 3/8 of an inch wide. It's not quite a ½ inch. And it has a point at the end, normally to go through the other end of the zip. We just take that and we'll slide it right through the handle, making sure that the seam is centered on one of the flat sides. So slide it all the way through till it comes out the other end. Now you can clip this end square or you can leave it pointed, doesn't matter. This end you do need to clip square. You'll take your handle and you will hand stitch it to the sides of your basket. And you can see the hand stitching right here. Now you can machine stitch it, but I find with the basket shape and the top on, it's a little hard to get all of that under your sewing machine. It's much easier to just hand stitch all the way around. Hand stitch it on both sides. And the very last thing is you want to add some embellishments if you haven't done that already. So for example, on the wine carrier, we didn't add a top, so we've simply added a bow and a button, as we did on the medium-sized basket. We've just added a bow and a button to the front. You can add layered buttons like we did here, or use your imagination to decorate your baskets. All done.